Welcome to I'm Right, You're Wrong. The only show anywhere that's going to tell you the truth. How do I know that? Because nobody else is saying it. I watch a lot of media searching for the truth, looking at the lies, trying to analyze the lies and seeing where the truth is. And nobody, you know, you can find some people and they kind of sound like they know what they're talking about, but they're still either going to go, so you got to vote Democrat or you got to vote Republican. Bullshit. Voting's part of the problem. Voting ain't going to solve nothing. I think they solved it in Sri Lanka. I think they solved it. I think they had to take matters into their own hands. That was a terrible thing. It was a terrible, awful thing. A terrible, awful thing when the people realize they're being lied to and head to the palace and kick out all the muckety-mucks. It's terrible. It's horrible. I still can't get over it. I'm still reeling from January 6th. The sacred halls of democracy. The sacred halls of democracy. We're talking about Washington, D.C., a place where a president ejaculated on an intern's dress. And the place where they steal your money on a daily basis and insider trade. I'm kidding, just kidding. It's the sacred halls of democracy. Weren't you offended? Weren't you offended? When you saw those people as the cops opened the doors and let them in, when you saw those people traipsing around with Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi, the fucking... What is she, the Speaker of the House? She's the bomb biggity. She's been there for 127 years. She loves you. She cares about you. And they were desecrating the sacred halls where great people like Nancy Pelosi and Rick Scott and Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham, where all those great people work and care about you. Aren't you upset about it? Aren't you upset that somebody took a poop on Mitch McConnell's desk? Oh my God, that would have been the greatest day of my life if somebody took a poop on Mitch McConnell's desk. And if you don't get it, then you don't get it. And you probably don't want to watch this broadcast. So tell it like it is, people. Ain't nobody telling it like it is, I'm telling you. Zero people telling it like it is, except for me, one guy. I got some good audio here. Let's see who we got lying today. Let me see who's lying. Oh, that's a lot. Rachel Maddow's lying. Susan Sarandon's posting videos of how shitty her town is, when she probably voted for everybody who was responsible for it. And by the way, the CDC might be wanting to add the COVID vaccine to the list of vaccines your child has to get before it can go to school. How do you like them apples? CDC always looking out for your health. No studies have been done on it, but I've heard it's completely safe. I also heard it will keep you from getting COVID. So I'll go with what I've heard. I may not have gotten the latest updates, but you can't pass it on. You can't get COVID. Save your life. And they've done studies, I believe 10-year studies. Like they had a time machine and they went back 10 years and they've done 10 years worth of studies to show that it is safe for children. Hope everything I said there was kosher. I'm trying to be pro. Believe the science. Believe the science. I believe that's what they told Copernicus. Right before they kicked him in the teeth. Believe the science. Science changes. You know, it changes a lot. So you could have believed it, and then it could have changed, and then you believe the new science. Science, you know, it wasn't wrong. It just changed. Just changed. Believe the science. That gall. It's I'm right. You're wrong. So fuck off. If you don't like salty language, you better fuck off right now. Because I used to be a little more cerebral. I used to have a little more nuanced conversations, and then as things go on, and you just see the preposterousness of it all, then you just kind of become those fucking cocksuckers, those motherfucking cocksuckers, and you can't help it. And so there's some of that in this show. So if you don't like that, it's not safe for work. So you might want to tune out. Also, this is the only show that gives you a warning up front to leave. If you're like a hardcore Republican, like you would give probably $1,000 if you give Donald Trump a hand job. If you're one of those people, if you're a hardcore Democrat and you think that Joe Biden's doing a bang up job and Nancy Pelosi is cares about you one iota, then you probably don't want to watch this show, because I believe you're an idiot. Sorry. You don't have to, I don't like it. As far as Donald Trump, Donald Trump is polarizing. He polarizes in between groups. There's 17 different polarizations with Trump. So, my viewpoint on Trump is I've always liked Donald Trump. I liked him for years. Thought he was an entertaining guy. Thought he was very interesting. I didn't care really about, what kind of personal scumbag he was. I really had no idea. I know he was a serial adulterer, but I just found him very interesting. And, I like to listen to interesting people. And then, there came a point where he was president, and if you were like, hey, yeah, I used to like to listen to Donald Trump. He's interesting. And, the things he says are somewhat entertaining. He speaks off the cuff, and he really throws zingers around at people. I'm a threat to democracy because I find a man entertaining. It's like, you're going to demonize him worse than anybody before. And see, I was talking to my mom. Yesterday. And she was like, somebody said something, Mike. Somebody made a good point. And they said that George Bush, sent people to die, young Americans to die. Over 10,000 Americans to get maimed, wounded, and killed. Shut that cat up! In a war that was based on lies, and he knew it was lies, and Colin Powell knew it was lies, and when they were holding up a bottle of turmeric at the UN saying it was yellow cake uranium, I knew it was lies back then. I didn't believe it for 1 second. I guess I'm gifted with some kind of sentience that most people aren't. When George Bush went, yeah, you got to fight him over there to fight him over in the 10-year war on terror. That was like 2 days after 9/11. I was like, holy fuck, I know what this is all about. And when I saw Colin Powell holding up the yellow cake uranium, saying it was going to be used it is used in Iraq to make weapons of mass destruction, I went, well, that's a line of horse shit. And when George Bush went 10-year war on terror, I went, that's a fucking money grab. So you might, I didn't hear nobody else saying that. As a matter of fact, it's somewhat proof. I would go on the air. When is this back in? 2000. I can't remember when we invaded Iraq. 2001, 2002. I don't remember. 2003. And I was going, wow, this war is a load of horse shit. I can't even. Why are we going to Iraq? And boy, the bunch of dear, you're a communist, dear. We need to go to kick them Iraqis ass, dear. Bunch of uneducated fucking simpletons telling me when who turned out to be right, and nobody was saying it. Nobody was saying it. The media was perpetuating the myth that Iraq had something to do with 9/11, which it didn't, and 70% of Americans believed it did, which meant 70% of Americans are a bunch of fucking morons who believe whatever the talking heads on any media outlet say to them. It's like I listen to Tucker Carlson. Yeah. Are you out there, Donna? Do you know how to get comments on this thing? I can't figure it out. I'm sure there's comments, but I can't figure it out. No, I forgot what I was saying. I guess I wrapped up that diatribe. I think I was getting ready to just spit some more. I got a lot of good audio. This is that's a good one. That's a good one. I think this is the best though. I don't think I better not. Okay, I can't remember her name. Is it Carrie Lake? I think she's running in Arizona. But you see, I mean, she may see. There's nobody. You'll watch this video, and if you're on the left, you'll hate her, just because you're left. No other reason. Just because she's disagreeing with you. You don't give a shit whether her point is valid at all. You fucking hate her because she's on the right. And if you're on the right, you're going to go, this woman is the best thing ever. She is a saint. She's unbelievable. She could lead our country and change everything. And then if you're me, you go, which is the 10% of the country, you go, well, that sounds really good. And she's definitely got her act together, and she's a go-get dynamic. She's dynamic. She's kind of got the it factor. But she could be just, she's got the it factor, and she's a great actress, and she's going to get in there and then try to take all her money like everybody else. But nobody thinks that way. You always have to look at every single person, every politician, and think that. Unless you are, what's this lady's name? Carrie Lake? Unless you are like, say Ron DeSantis' son, and in 20 years you could say, yep, my dad raised me, and I saw him work every night, and he never cheated, and he never cheated on my mom. He was just a straight up guy. That's the only people who knows anybody's character is somebody who's lived with somebody for fucking 20 years. You don't know any of these people's character. Some of them you know. Like, you can look at Rick Scott and his history and go, well, that guy's nefarious. That guy's a swindler. You can look at Nancy Pelosi and her insider trading and go, well, yeah, she's a fucking con artist. But, very few people, who have this squeaky clean image and this and that. Look at Bill Cosby. You can't really judge him unless you know it. You know him. You know him really well, really well. Like his wife, I'm sure she knew. She's just turning a blind eye. Oh, Bill likes to have sex with women who who can barely breathe. It's just his thing. Listen to this. Where's her? Yeah, Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake, and she's going to talk about. I've been saying this shit for years. Actually, I've said it for years, and she does a really good job. She got her shit together. She's there with the people for the Black Voices for Carrie Lake. See, black people, they're not stupid. They know when they're getting lied to.
I'm actually shocked you asked that question.
Well, they asked her about her denying the. You can't see. They asked about her. I'm sure they said denying the 2020 election when she. It should be framed as, why are you questioning? See, the denying and the big lie is just a media catchphrase to brainwash half the population. The big lie, the big lie, the big lie, the big lie, the big lie. How many times you heard that? The big lie, the big lie, the big lie, the big lie. So after you hear that, January 6th insurrection, most of the deadly insurrection, worse than 9/11, worse than 9/11, worse than 9/11. So after a while, you start believing that shit. I mean, some people do. All right, so I'm going to give it back to Carrie Lake. So they ask her, what about, you questioning the election results of 2020?
Actually,
I have to give you a tough one once in a while.
I did a little, actually, Anthony, how old are you?
20.
Are you a journalist?
No.
Well, you did better research than half these people. Let's talk about
She's got some zingers too.
election deniers. Here's 150 examples of Democrats denying election results. Oh wow, look at this. This is from Joe Biden's press secretary. Reminder, Brian Kemp stole the gubernatorial election from Georgians and Stacey Abrams. Democrats saying that. Is that an election denier? Oh, look at this. Just heard Republican Ryan Costello said it would be difficult for Stacey Abrams to win because she lost her state bid, but yet she's still claiming she never lost. This is outright. Hillary Clinton. Trump is an illegitimate president. Is she an election denier?
I mean, all she's doing, and you can see cases of this like libs of TikTok, Matt Walsh, what she's doing right now is if you just show facts, all she's doing is showing headlines and showing quotes. So that is the truth. I have no idea what her motives are once she comes to power, whether she cares about making America a good place or whether she's looking to line her pockets, which is probably the latter. But right now, she's saying 100% true things, and you can't deny it.
This one says, was the 2016 election legitimate? It now definitely is a question worth asking. That's the Los Angeles Times.
So, I mean, what election was that? 2016? So less than 10 years ago, the Los Angeles Times started out, that's the headline. That's the headline or the subheadline, and it goes, was the 2016 election legitimate? The question is worth asking. If you say that about the 2020 election, you get banned. You get deplatformed. So how it's like something that will drive you insane. It drive you insane. You're like, well, I'm not a Republican and I'm not a Democrat. But back then, the Democrats said this about the election. They were denying the election results, and that was fine. But now it's not. Now I'm in the middle, but I can still see that that's wrong. And that has nothing to do. They're just paving the way. The next time, look at the Republicans that are in power. They're going to start denying the elections or saying that you can't deny the elections, whatever benefits them. But this lady, she knows what she's talking about. She's savvy. We need more candidates like this. You put her in a room with John Fetterman. Put her in a room with Herschel Walker, and she'll make both of them. One's a Republican, one's a Democrat. She'll make both of them look like fucking idiots. She'll talk circles around them.
So it's okay for Democrats to question elections, but it's not okay for Republicans. It's a crock of BS. Every one of you knows it. We have our freedom of speech, and we're not going to relinquish it to a bunch of fake news propagandists. If you want a copy of these, I'm sure that Anthony would help you get a copy and help you learn how to be journalists, but look it up.
Oh, smack, how to learn to be journalists. See, and that's the thing, is they all know that. They've probably already seen all these clips. They covered it. They wrote half this shit. They don't care about the truth. They do what their bosses tell them. The bosses tell them, go cover Carrie Lake and slam her for being an election denier. And they come back and said, wow, she really owned us and made a great point. No, just don't run that shit. This is, they're not going to run this shit on the news. They don't want, fuck, they hate this shit. You gotta look for this shit.
It's been happening for a long time. Since 2000, people have questioned the legitimacy of our elections. And all we're asking is that in the future, we don't have that have to happen anymore. When I'm governor, we're going to make sure we have honest elections. We want the Democrats, the Independents, and the Republicans to all know that their vote counted. We want fair, honest, and transparent elections, and we're going to deliver that for the people.
Well, she could be completely lying about that. Once she gets in power, she could want to control the elections just like everybody else does. But I'm just saying, she's savvy. She's competent. This woman sounds competent, and she's capable of talking without a teleprompter.
People. But just remember, guys, this is one page after Hillary Clinton says George W. Bush was selected president, not elected. So let's start, if you're going to start throwing around terms like election denier, let's remember who the other election deniers were.
Oh, snap.
Hillary Clinton and all the Democrats.
Oh, snap.
Next question.
Now, why, something like that? See, that's is what I can't stand. Is I don't really understand how the United States is going to function anymore. Because you can have what she said is totally provable. It's headlines from Democratic-leaning outlets. It's 100% true. It's their headlines that she didn't, she's not making them up. There's videotape of people saying that. And she can come out and say that, and it means nothing. That's why I say... I remember. I got to write this one down. My mom. That's why I say if I would, if you're the Democrats, if you believe it's real, and there's not, they're not in collusion with each other, which I believe they are. So if you're the Democrats, why wouldn't you just don't even worry about the voting? Whenever it comes back, just say, yeah, either say, hey, no, that's wrong, we won, or when they say, Republicans say, it looks like you cheated. Nope, we didn't. And then you tell the media, say the election was the most safe and secure ever, and the media does. And if anybody says, well, that seems like a complete crock of BS. George Biden, might as well be. Joe Biden was on a ventilator. He was on a ventilator during the last debate, and he could only communicate by beeping yes and no. Beep, beep, beep. And 180 million people voted for him. I don't know if that's the big lie. You're a threat to democracy. No, seriously, he was on a ventilator. They're killing me. He was on a ventilator in a hospital bed behind a lectern, and he had a button, and it would beep once for yes and twice for no. And they only answered him yes or no questions. Do you like chocolate chip ice cream? Beep. No. Oh, he doesn't. How about vanilla chocolate chip? Beep, 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 beep. Oh, he really likes that. And 180 million people, more people than actually, are registered to vote, voted for Joe Biden in the 2024 election, and he won. And if you question it, you might get a visit from some letter people. From the people, you might get a visit. Why don't do that? Why don't they just do that? Maybe they will. Maybe they will. I believe the midterms, which is like, a couple weeks away, is going to be a good test. So it's either going to be, it's either going to be midterms, we're just going to let them go as usual. Just going to let them go as usual. Because we got bigger fish to fry. We'll just get past the midterms. There'll be a little bit of, it's so close, this and that, but we'll get past it. The 2024 is when we're really, we're going to have to really put our thumbs, our feet down and screw everybody. Or this election could be where finally you realize there are no legitimate elections ever again. And whatever result there is, you're like, wow, that doesn't seem real. But the media says it's real. And they all say it. And if you say it's not real, they ban you. So I guess it's real. And they win. Nice knowing you. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later. Like I said, I don't have solutions. I don't have a lot of solutions. I don't have a ton of solutions. My solutions are voting. Voting's a waste of time. You don't want to protest unless you've got about 10 million people with you, because otherwise you might get thrown to jail for a couple of years. So you don't want to do that. So the only solution is to live your best life now, appreciate your loved ones, maybe get involved with your community. Maybe, you gotta, if you live in a neighborhood, maybe start up a neighborhood watch. You might want to get a co-op where you can buy some stuff. You might want to put in a hand pump, get some water, and drill a well. If you live in the city, you're screwed. But you could get bottled water. These are all, common sense things. If a hurricane happened, or a tornado happened, or some kind of a tragic thing happened in your city, and you got some stuff, it'll help you out. Don't get a gun though. Never get a gun for personal protection. You won't need it. Crime's not getting worse. Do not get especially an assault rifle, heaven forbid, a weapon of war. I guess I need to have sarcasm alerts in this show as well. A lot of people don't get sarcasm anymore. It's tough. It's tough sledding out here, trying to be clever and funny. People don't even understand it. What's up, Kevin Kistner? What's up, Dirk Penrod? April, what's going on, April? Christopher D. Harmon, what's going on? Brad Tothero. BLM is the big lie. Well, you see, there's some evidence of that. You're not just what's up, Josh Burgess? You're not just throwing it out there, Brad. You're not just throwing it out there because, well, you might be, but you're not going, BLM's a big lie just because you heard it on Fox News that BLM was a lie. You probably know that they've spent millions and millions for their own personal benefit and virtually spent nothing on anything else. The cause really doesn't have anything. It was just the cause. It was there just to be a cause, to rile up half the country, to distract you, to show that if you believe in one thing, you can riot. If you believe in another thing, you can't. That's all it was. It wasn't a cause. And then I don't know if they were expecting, or maybe they they might have told all these corporations, you give them millions of dollars and legitimize it. These corporations, BLM, when did that come into existence? All of a sudden, these corporations giving tens of millions of dollars to, a corporation that probably has a track record of doing nothing. And if you look back at the mansions they bought and the things that they have not done, it was just a big scam. And I said it before. Hey, hooray! Hooray for black people. I'm the only one saying this too. The only one fucking saying this. Very happy that they have finally achieved a level of equality to where black people can run major charities and get tens of millions of dollars from corporations and steal it just like the white people. I get a fucking woo on that shit. Woo! Hooray for black people. You hear anybody else cheering for the black people? The black people, no, I don't think there's been any charity to the magnitude of BLM. Tens upon tens of millions of dollars flowing in from corporate America. All just taken and stolen. Congratulations. Congratulations, African American / black people. You have achieved a level of equality I didn't think you would ever achieve. Nobody's saying that shit. So I haven't voted in years, but if I was voting, I would vote for Carrie Lake if I was in Arizona. I think she's in Arizona, just because then I would get to hear somebody on my TV actually, talking in coherent sentences. That would be something that she did for the country. She talked coherently, and she didn't use a teleprompter, and she, can think for herself. I'd rather be screwed by that than by these 80-year-old doddering lunatics in Congress. Nancy Pelosi. This lady. Yeah, I got it. Thank you, appreciate it. This lady, she could screw you, but at least she'll tell, she'll sweet talk you better than the other people. She talks like she's intelligent. Isn't it sad how excited I am over an intelligent person running? And she might be a crook. I don't know. She's a politician. Most politicians are crook. Almost every single one of them. Maybe she's a crook. Oh well, I like this crook better, and I'll admit it. She probably a crook, but I'd vote for this crook. I'd vote for that crook Ron DeSantis. He seems he's well read. I've heard he's well read and informed. How about them apples? Nobody's well read anymore. Nobody reads anymore. He's well read. I think he's got some balls. Ron DeSantis, the only thing you can do in politics, people, The only thing that makes any sense is vote for someone who has done something, anything to benefit you. And it's very hard to find, but you can find it. Ron DeSantis, I'm sure there's ulterior motives, and it's all a big buildup to probably the presidency. But not locking down Florida helped me, helped my family, my wife's business. Not masking up kids. Oh my God, I can't even imagine the damage that was done to all these children who couldn't learn because they were too focused on their masks, and these young children who get a lot of their learning and socialization from facial expressions. I don't know how many kids who have lost a year of learning and will never catch up. I'm sure there's going to be, I've heard a lot of doom and gloom about how, everything, the economy and suicides and mental illness were all made, much worse by the lockdowns. And school children, they took a big hit and the scores are down. And I'm sure you'll come, you'll hear articles in the future saying, oh, it wasn't that bad. And that, could be just media damage control from the left. Once again, it's hard to figure out. All I know is kids were not learning remotely. If I was a kid and you put me on a computer and try to teach me locally, I'm I'm like zoning out. I'm not interested at all. I'm sure there's some students who are just good students and they want to learn, and and I'm sure they learned and they paid attention on their virtual classes. Those kids are going to learn no matter what. You got some smart kids who really like to learn. They're going to learn and they're going to be successful no matter what. The other 80% lost a year, may never get it back. What kind of country are they creating? Do you expect the United States educational system to be able to take these people who lost a year and catch them up? No fucking way. There's no way. They'll never do it. So you got a bunch of iPhone-addicted, self-indulgent a-holes not being taught anything because once you get behind, you lose your interest in learning. When the teacher's talking, you're like, I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. I don't know what this fucking formula is. I missed geometry. I missed it. I missed the year of geometry. I was on the computer, but I was on my phone down here. Teacher doesn't give a shit whether you're looking at the screen. She's just trying to get her paycheck and make sure all her kids are signed in. So Ron DeSantis definitely helped me with that. My granddaughters were not masked. They were masked briefly, and then they weren't, and then they were back at school. And all I can say, you always got to worry about what you say. I'm just saying facts about what DeSantis did. I was going to say, but I have millions. They always bring up, how many people died? Millions of people died. Well, and then it also it even came out that they said so many people died with COVID. So you don't know the real number. I don't know if they'll ever come up with a real number, but they like to use the big number. All I know is I don't know a single person personally who died from COVID or even had a bad case of COVID or hospitaled or anything. I'm not saying anything pro or con. I'm just saying personally, I don't know. Don't know anybody. And that's how I deal, with my life. It's like, I don't know anybody. Nobody. I've not talked to anybody I know. So it doesn't affect me or anybody I know, and that's how I deal with it. So selfish. You're so selfish. Maybe not. I've heard some despicable, disgusting people say that if you didn't get the vaccine and you held out through all that pressure and all that the mandates, that you're a hero and you're one of the bravest people in history. Some people say that. I'm kind of inclined to possibly believe in that. Scott Manfield says he was watching an old show on YouTube and lost track of time. What's up, Scott? Josh Burgess says, I don't understand why Manson is so strong on talking politics when he hates almost everyone in politics and has nothing to say about anyone in politics. I hate the Steelers and the Patriots, but you don't see me every moment talking about them. Well, the Steelers and every moment I talk about it, like 3 hours a week. The Steelers and the Patriots don't affect your life at all. At all, even if you said you're not a fan, you hate the Steelers and the Patriots, they don't affect you at all. Okay, maybe they beat your team, but that's all. It's a fake. It's the guys with a leather ball running around 100-yard field. It's meaningless in life. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Patriots affect your life zero. They can't tax you. They can't take you to war. They can't not educate your children. They can't force you to take things that you might not want to take. They can't curtail your First Amendment right to free speech. Okay, I think I've pretty much made that point. My mom. I was going to make a point about my mom. That's when I forgot that one. She was like, I said, she was talking about, she was like, I heard a point. Somebody made a good point. And they said that George W. Bush has sent, that's when I went on my Iraqi diatribe, talk about the yellow cake uranium, and it was fake, and all those soldiers were killed, and all those innocent Iraqis were killed. But yet, they don't hate him at all. They don't even think about him. But they hate Donald Trump. And I said, that was me, Mom. I said, I made that point on I'm Right, You're Wrong. She goes, oh, yeah, that's right. I did see that. And I can't, nobody wants to talk politics. Oh, he says my mom died of COVID. That's, I thought you were reminding me about the story. My bad. Well, I'm sorry. Sorry your mom died of COVID. But I don't know you. I don't know you personally. I'm talking about no one I knew personally. Immediate family, co-workers, former co-workers, friends, died and didn't really know anybody. Well, thank you, Josh. But I talk this because I don't know. I felt this way for years and years, and I've always been frustrated that your vote doesn't really count, and they're just stealing your money, and it gets worse and worse. But I would like to go see people, if there's a TV show, where somebody had, conspiracy theories, or if there was like George Carlin and his common sense, his brilliant common sense, and how he knew that it was all work, and they all just want your money, and it was all fake. And I would love hearing it, even though I knew there was nothing I could do about it. But I loved this, like, oh my God. Oh my, you hear somebody talking like that, they get it. They get it too. They know it's all fake. They know they just want your money. They know these people are, people really expect they're going to elect a bunch of used car salesmen, and send them to Washington with virtually unlimited power, and expect they're not going to completely corrupt the system and just go crazy, just run amok with stealing. That's what they're doing now. Eventually, they steal your money, but there's accountability, a little bit of accountability, and they gotta dot their I's and cross their T's and do a little bit to protect the country and do good for the country to keep it rolling. Otherwise, they'll get voted out. But now they pretty much own the media. They own the media. You don't hear the media saying bad things about nobody who's in power right now. All the Republicans who are voting, for war, all the Democrats, they're not going to say nothing bad about them at all. So if you've got control of the media, you have no... when's the last time you saw an investigative journalist piece about a politician exposing the corruption and the fraud, and it doesn't happen. So if you can do it Look at Nancy Pelosi and her insider trading. She's made, I mean, think about this. She's made over $160 million, or her husband has $163 million. And it's legal for Congress people to insider trade. So she's made getting close to $250 million. Close to $250 million. So what they're doing is that and everybody knows it. So they can do whatever they want now. So what is the incentive not to do it? You put a bunch of scumbags. These people lie for a living. They're not good people. They don't care about you. You put them in charge, and eventually what's going to happen? They're just fucking making it rain. And then they're like, oh, we're running out of money to make it rain. Print some more money to make it rain. We'll say we're going to use it for this. Then they make it rain, and they make it rain, and they make it rain. And they're, oh, my God, we're running out of money, and I've only got $10 million left in my bank account. Print some more money. We'll say it's for windmills. And then they make it rain on themselves. That's all it is until, there's the old saying, your chickens come home to roost. And when you're $31 trillion in debt, and you're still fucking up the world. We're still, this whole Ukraine thing is really fucking up the world economy. It's fucking up the world's energy. People are going to have blackouts in England. In Great Britain, they're going to have blackouts this winter because they don't have enough energy. And who's responsible for that? Vladimir Putin. Or you could say the United States of America. I've once again, in the research that I've done, I've seen that they were trying to do a peace plan, and before the war started, and the U.S. nixed it. They're not going to negotiate. It's pretty obvious. I mean, if you don't, it's pretty obvious. People, I don't know. George Carlin said, imagine how dumb the average person is, and realize that 50% are dumber than that. So you can sell them anything. Oh my God, the yellow and blue flags, and nobody knows nothing. Nobody did 1 ounce of research on the Ukraine. Not 1 ounce of research. And in fact, like Elon Musk tweeted the other day something about, trying to do peace and possibly give Russia back some of their territory, and talking about the history of Russia. And he was immediately excoriated by saying he was a tool of Russia because he knew the history. Because he knew the fucking history. They don't want you to know the history. They don't want you to spout the history. They want you to just believe what they tell you. Russia bad, Ukraine good. Give us basically $1 trillion, just like they did in Afghanistan. I think it might have been $3 trillion combined between Iraq and Afghanistan. And Julian Assange said it best. He said they don't want to win a war. They don't want to win a war. They want a continued war, a protracted war, because that's where all the money is. And you can say protracted war in Iraq, protracted war in Afghanistan, and it certainly looks like it's going to be a protracted war in the Ukraine. And nobody cares. They got their yellow and blue flags, and they're all for it. We're all for it. Got to defend democracy. They banned the other political parties in Ukraine, and there was many articles about the corruption of Ukraine, right? Just a few years before the war. But that's all gone. You got Zelensky in front of a green screen in his T-shirt, appearing to in Vanity Fair photo shoots, and you question this guy. I'm just a human nature guy. Not right all the time. Pretty good judge of character. Pretty good. And some people I can look at. Most of the people in Washington you can look at and go, well, they're a piece of shit. They're a piece of shit. Just because if you watch them a little bit and you're like, oh, you could just tell. That Zelensky guy, I could just tell. I don't trust him. Don't trust him. Don't really believe anything he's saying. Isn't that my right? Now, if you I think if you try to be a judge someone's character and have an opinion about it, you're a threat to worldwide democracy. How about them apples? How about them fucking apples? It's preposterous. It's absolutely preposterous the way we're dealing with this country right now. And there's no truth. You can't find the truth. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Let's do some more non-truths. This is the CEO of Pfizer. He just recently came out and said they didn't test to see if the vaccine would stop transmission. Like if you got the vaccine, whether you could get it and give it to other people. They didn't even test for that. They didn't even, that's just, what the CEO of Pfizer said. That's what he said. He said they didn't test for it. He said they did not test to see if it was transmissible, which would be the basis for the passports and the mandates and everything. And so they didn't test for it, but here's your favorite talking heads giving their opinion, I guess, on it, because it certainly couldn't be factual because what they're saying isn't factual.
Every vaccinated person. A vaccinated person gets exposed to the virus. The virus does not infect them. The virus cannot then use that person to go anywhere else.
Okay, well, that's not true. I mean, that's not true. We all know that. Everyone in the country knows that if you're vaccinated, you can still get it, and a lot of people did. And you can still pass it on. So that's what. Well, they didn't test. So see, listen to how emphatic she is over something that never even occurred and wasn't even possible. This was not even possible to be known at the time. Listen to how emphatic she is about something that was impossible to be known at the time. So if she's this emphatic about this impossible to be known fact, what other fallacies and Fantasyland bullshit is she emphatic about every night of her life that you, half the people, lap up? I love Rachel Maddow. She's telling me the truth. No. 12 o'clock. I don't think she is. I don't think she is. This is impossible to be known because it wasn't done. Impossible to be known.
The virus does not infect them. The virus cannot then use that person to go anywhere else. It cannot use a vaccinated person as a host to go get more people.
See, look how condescending. Look how fucking condescending and emphatically condescending and arrogant. Fucking arrogant these people are. And you wonder why.
That means the vaccines will get us to the end of this.
Essentially, vaccines block you from getting and giving.
Oh, she's an infectious disease expert. She's an infectious disease expert, and she knows the facts, even though the facts were impossible to be known because they didn't even try to find these facts.
The virus.
Fully vaccinated people are at a very, very low risk of getting COVID-19.
Oh, he says very, 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 very low. He's trying to hedge his bets.
Therefore, if you've been fully vaccinated, you no longer need to wear a mask.
When people are vaccinated, they can feel safe that they are not going to get infected. We have all...
He's the guy. This guy, the top guy, the biggest expert in the field, the man who led the response to COVID, is spouting things that were impossible to be known with great enthusiasm, and that makes me a lunatic.
All the vaccines we need. We just need our people to take it. A, for their own protection, for the protection of their family, but also to break the chain of transmission. You want to be a dead end to
Break the chain. I don't think that was possible to be known. Maybe. See, I always like to put a positive spin on things. Maybe Anthony Fauci had a time machine, and he went forward, 10 years, and finally saw the trials that Pfizer did, and came back to let us know, because otherwise, well, it was impossible to be known.
virus. So when the virus gets to you, you stop it. You don't allow it to use you as the stepping stone to the next person. I think given the country as
He had a time machine, so I'm a huge Dr. Tony Fauci mark with. He had a time machine, and he took the time to go ahead and see the studies that Pfizer hadn't done yet and come back and give us the results. Fucking awesome. God, this guy's good.
as a whole, the fact that we have now about 50% of adults fully vaccinated and about 62% of adults having received at least one dose, as a nation, I feel fairly certain you're not going to see the kind of surges we've seen in the past.
If you're vaccinated, you're not going to be hospitalized, you're not going to be in an ICU unit, and you're not going to die. You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
Yeah.
Well, he also knew, the President of the United States. Maybe he was in the time machine with Dr. Anthony Fauci. Maybe they'll spin it that way, and people will believe it. People will believe it, and we'll be, us here on I'm Right, You're Wrong, so fuck off. Us here, the 10%, will be going, can you believe they said that Joe Biden and Anthony Fauci had a time machine, and they went ahead and saw that the vaccines were okay, and then they came back, and that we're supposed to believe it, and every media outlet is saying the same thing. That's when you know it's over, when they bring out the time machine. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anybody here. Gene Lasker. Gene Lasker in his house. Kevin Kistner, what's up? Drink the Kool-Aid. Drink the Kool-Aid. That's what they want. You might as well take the blue pill, man. I'm ready for the blue pill. Give me the blue pill. Give me a pillow, and stick a cord in my head, and let me just see some visions and some pleasant videos and some metaverses, and forget all this shit. That's my only advice. Start a neighborhood watch. That's my advice. Don't vote. Start a neighborhood watch. It'll benefit your life a lot fucking more. And we'll see you. What's today? Tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow, 8 a.m. on Cluster F. Twitch.tv/Cluster F Show. Twitch.tv/Cluster F Show. Thanks for joining me. What's up, Christina Oler? And I'm out of here. Take care. Thanks for tuning in.